I'm Steve from Nearly Wild, and today I'm here with
Polly
and Phill.
Polly and Phill. And Polly and Phill, we're up here sat in the mountains looking out across an amazing view near a little village called Staylittle in mid-Wales. And I know that you're passionate about the natural world and getting people out, and you have a number of things that you do, including, I understand, soon to open a very impressive centre, but we'll come back to that. Polly, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Okay, so I run a company called Mountain Yoga Breaks, and we combine yoga with mountain biking and road cycling on weekends away in this area.
Sounds wonderful. Yeah. Maybe I'll come along. I've got a bit of a bad back, so I might sort that out. Yeah, and Phill, tell us a bit more.
So, sticking with the mountain theme, so myself and Polly actually run another company called Mtb Wales, which specialises in multi-day tours across mid-Wales. So, predominantly Cambrian Way, Elm Valley, a bit of the Brecon Beacons, but mostly on giving people an experience of cycling through mid-Wales from one venue to another.
I would imagine there'll be quite a lot of people who won't know mid-Wales necessarily that well. So can you give us a little bit of a feel of the sorts of things they'd see, what sorts of places they go through?
Yeah, so I mean mid-Wales the Cambrian Mountains in particular is quite an unspoilt area, so it's kind of it's that hinterland between Snowdonia and the Brecon Beacons. So a lot of people overlook it by going to the coast quite often, or going to the hotspots to the north and south. But here in mid-Wales we've got some of the most wildest and rugged area you can find probably in the UK. You know, it is that sparsely populated. It's the Plynlimmon, which is just behind us. Plynlimmon is the highest peak in the Cambrian Mountains, and you won't see anybody up there. So it's quite quiet in that sense. So when people join us for a weekend of cycling, you know, we can ride 3 days across Wales, from starting in the borders, the marches at Knighton, through the stunning Elm Valley, which is almost like a mini lake district here in mid-Wales, over the Cambrians, and finish in the Dyfi Junction, or Dyfi Estuary, shall I say, right on the Welsh coast, and you'll see a handful of people. It is quiet, it's very peaceful in that sense, and people just get a real experience journeying through it. You know, the wildlife, the red kites, we've got ospreys just in the woods in Havron just behind, so it is it offers something a little bit more than just the ride. I think it's the journey, and the community feel is something that's quite unique. Yeah,
it's fascinating, and I get that sort of whole sense of history as well. Some of those places you mentioned, I mean, we've got the source of the Severn with the Plynlimmon, we've got those intricate landscapes, you know, sort of created over thousands of years really by people and their interaction with the natural world.
That's right. You know, and right up until 100, 150 years ago, you know, Plynlimmon, obviously from an Iron Age, Bronze Age perspective, you know, right the way through to Victorians led Roman actually influences here at Dyfi, with there being an early Roman lead mine up at Pennycrobran. So, you know, just literally 2 kilometres up there's the Roman fortlet, and you know, above the small village of Dyfi, which at one time would have had 1,500 people living in it. Today, a handful of houses and a really nice pub for us to go to. So thankfully the pub survived, and so, but the small communities, that's the nice thing about mid-Wales, is they're small, very friendly, welcoming communities that are just dotted around, you know, a day's walk from one another, it seems, everywhere, but, you know, market town-wise. So
it's lovely. And then Polly, I mean, does everybody then come and have do a bit of yoga with you? It feels like a wonderful thing to combine with mountain biking, because of that sort of relaxing and releasing some energy in a different way. How much do you find people who are biking doing the yoga with you, or is it a different type of group?
Slightly different type of group. So we don't do a lot of yoga on the Mtb Wales trips, do we?
No, but, I'm not quite as flexible.
But definitely on my trips, it's a real treat to finish a day's ride and then have a really nice stretch out at the end of the day, and people usually sleep particularly well.
I'm sure.
After lots of fresh air and lots of relaxation and good food. So, yeah. And
we're sitting now in a centre at Staylittle, and you were talking about yoga. Potentially, are you looking to do yoga retreats here, or what sort of things are you looking to use this centre for?
Yeah, so we will use the centre. We'll both use the centre for our events. We'll probably be creating some new type weekends and packages that we're going to run from here. There is a yoga space here, so it's ideal. You don't have to go anywhere else, it's all within the building. And yeah, I'll be running retreats and workshops on weekends up here.
Sounds amazing. And I know you've got lots of grand plans for the building and improvements, and so I think probably using the word centre is misleading. I think it's going to be a welcoming space for groups of people to be able to come, but also individuals and couples if they want to as well. A kind of a base for this part of Mid Wales, really, isn't there, for outdoor activity?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it was a purpose-built outdoor centre originally. It's only 27 years old. I've got a lot of fond memories of working here as an instructor many years ago, and we're proud to be, giving it its next chapter in its life, I guess. And what we want to create is a real mountain chalet feel around it. So something that's very, very warm and welcoming, and can be used for a whole diverse, group of people, whether it's people visiting for walking along Glyndwr's Way, cycling, people visiting the coast, bird watching. There's rally sport, motorsport in the Havern with Yamaha. There's there's Clywedog fisheries, there's the sailing club, there's so much. Even if people just want to come and visit the historic market towns of Llanidloes and Machynlleth, it's just a space for people to use. So we don't want to be focused on just one activity, and you can only have cyclists here. That's just not what it's about. It's about creating it as a nice space for people to come and stay and appreciate the Cambrian Mountains.
Lovely. Well, I really look forward to it. Well, maybe we'll manage to sort out a nearly wild trip here with a group or something at some point in the future. But meanwhile, for those of you who are interested, we'll obviously put more information at the end of the video, tell you more about the links to the different websites, and to as things develop here at the centre, you'll be able to have a look and hopefully come along and book your place and get involved in some of this amazing landscape and learn about this wilder space with lots of wildlife, but also very much a living, working landscape. Thanks very much, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.